Hare Krishna. Welcome to the first in a series of the Japa Zone videos. The topic for today is I don't feel like chanting. We'll be discussing various aspects of the subject through this video. So, first thing we'll address is I don't feel anything when I chant. I don't get a taste. So, what could be done to address that?
Okay, thank you for the question. And, firstly, we have to look at how you were chanting. Are you chanting clearly? Are you chanting all the words? Are you chanting with clarity? And are you hearing the holy names? So those two things combined are very important. How you are chanting, the way you pronounce the words, and if you're hearing the holy names. And also what's really important is the environment that you chant in. Where are you chanting? Are you just chanting in a very distracted atmosphere? Or are you chanting where it's less distracting and it's a place you can concentrate, what we call the sacred space, where you won't get distracted by devices or anything else? So you have to choose the environment very carefully so you don't get distracted easily by anything. And are you doing anything else at the same time while you chant? Are you playing with devices? Are you walking around, rearranging your room? Are you doing anything else while you chant? And if you are, that's going to very badly affect your quality.
Thank you so much. That says a lot, very insightful about chanting. And what does a person do when he feels bored while chanting?
When the mind is not engaged in something interesting, it tends to get bored with what it's doing. If we're not engaging ourselves in hearing the holy names, the mind tends to get bored with chanting the same words over and over again. So that's what happens. The mind becomes disinterested in what you're doing. Unless we're hearing the holy names properly, it just gives a license for the mind to wander and think about all sorts of things. So that's what we need to do. We need to engage our mind. The mind needs to be engaged in the sound. In other words, we have to hear the mantra. And in that way, the mind can be overcome and defeated. And we won't have to get caught up with what the mind is thinking about. And a good way to do that is to listen to the mantra. We have to listen to the mantra, not the mind. So if we're listening to the mantra and hearing properly, the mind just goes away. It just fades away into the background. So we have to keep remembering that we need to listen to the mantra and not to the mind. And a good way of engaging our hearing is to read the mantra while we're chanting. And when we hear the mantra while we're chanting, automatically the mind will be taken care of and the mind won't be a problem anymore. So when we read the mantra, we automatically are engaged in hearing the holy names, and therefore we're not hearing the mind or listening to the mind, and that will help us.
Well, thank you, Prabhu. Prabhupada often emphasized about hearing the mantra, and that seems to be so essential. So, how does a devotee deal with not having time for chanting?
Yes, thank you for that. Our life needs to be centered around our japa, not our japa centered around our life. So we have to schedule our life according to our japa and give priority to chanting, so that we understand that actually the most important thing in the day is chanting 16 rounds. And when we understand that, then we'll schedule everything around our japa. And when we do that, we'll be able to plan our day so that we can chant early in the morning. With this in mind, we're giving priority to japa so that, okay, I will plan my day so that I can chant early in the morning.
Thank you for that. The mind is sometimes racing and we rather think about other things instead of chanting. How do we deal with that?
Yes, it's a common thing. We'd rather think about other things and we'd rather be doing other things. But when we're chanting and the mind is racing, we just need to bring the mind back to the sound of the holy names. Keep reminding ourselves to hear the holy names. And when we do that, the mind will automatically be controlled and we don't have to worry about the mind. It will just fade into the background. And by doing that, we actually make our minds our friend. Our mind becomes our friend. If we keep hearing the sound, then our mind becomes our friend, not our enemy that distracts us away from hearing the holy names. So a good way to do that is to actually make a deal with your mind and just say, listen, I know we have to think about all these things, but we'll do that after chanting.
Well, I appreciate that insight very much. And one other struggle that one experiences is the body is very exhausted. One is very tired when chanting. What can one do about it?
Yes, when you're feeling tired, a very good solution for that is to stand up or walk around whilst you chant. Sometimes sitting down can make us feel sleepy and we fall asleep during japa. So just stand up and walk around and chant your rounds. Or you can always go for a japa walk and get some fresh air. Stand out on your balcony or go outside or go for an actual japa walk. Fresh air can help you to stay awake. And also don't sleep before chanting your rounds. Finish your rounds before you, if you have to sleep, sleep after you finish your rounds, not before you finished your rounds. Because when you sleep, you get into the mode of ignorance more, and it's much harder to chant after that. So always endeavour to sleep after you finish your rounds if you have to.
Thank you very much, Rasa Rasika Prabhu, for being with us. And definitely, this has helped me, and I hope it helps other devotees in the practice of chanting. And we look forward to the next video. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.